Hey folks, do you like podcasts?
Do you have hobbies?
Well, here's the show for you.
The Hobby Shop Talk Podcast,
Featuring childhood friends
and old school noobs,
Luke and Matt.
Hello everyone, this is Matt, and this is Hobby Shop Talk Podcast, and this is episode 14, and again I have Luke along with me for the ride. How you doing today, Luke?
Good, getting excited for the Bills Monday night football game tonight. So they've had probably like 2 Monday night games in the last 20 years because they've been so crappy over the years that they never got Monday night football airtime. And
it's against the Patriots, which, you know, it's just crazy with Belichick. I mean, you have a rookie quarterback come in, and now I think they're leading the AFC, not just their division, but the whole AFC, and that's just crazy. And I don't even know why you had to start with football, because now you're just going to make my mood go down, because the Vikings lose on a last-second play to the 0-10-1 Detroit Lions, which only the Vikings. I mean...
Yeah, that was I watched that game, too, and it was... I actually watched it at our buddy Roy's, who's a huge Vikings fan. And
oh, man, I couldn't...
It was pretty...
The thing that gets me, though, is I was fine. I just expect it. So when we're losing... like whatever it was, 20-something, we're down by like, going into halftime, whatever. We're down by like more than a touchdown. I would have been fine just shutting off the TV, but I said, okay, they're going to maybe make a comeback and then win, and that's cool. But it's so much worse that they make the comeback and then they lose at the last second, because I then invested myself in the game and I was so excited, then just to hurt me even more. So just lose. Like, I could almost see why it'd be better to be a Detroit Lions fan. I don't think anyone's ever said that, but like, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to lose, so when you win, that's epic. Like, I don't...
Well, do you remember when we watched the Seattle playoff game at your place when Blair Walsh missed it wide right?
Yep.
Or whatever, like 27 yards out, he missed it. But you were like at halftime, like, whatever, this game's over. And I was like, no, there's a chance we can come back. And we ended up coming back, and then we missed the field goal and lost.
Yeah, no, that's why I missed the most epic touchdown in Minnesota, or maybe, pro sports history, with Diggs's touchdown, because I was so mad and I'm so used to losing that I left.
The Minneapolis Miracle, right?
And I went in the other room and everybody started jumping up and down and cheering. So we had people at our house, and I was like, screw you guys. Then I went out and saw the replay, and I was excited, of course, but I'm like, wow, I just missed something. But it's because I'm so used to that. But anyways, we could talk about our Minnesota fumbles and just our sports sorrow. Even though we have possibly the best team in hockey, we should mention that since we're talking sports, and a 7-0 college basketball team that is a bunch of transfers from small schools, which is pretty sweet because they were picked last and now they're 7-0. So
yeah, the Wild just beat Toronto, the Maple Leafs, so that was a huge win, because I think I think they're the number one out in the East, right?
Yeah. And the thing is, too, I can't ever watch half the games, but I still try and follow because of the stupid Fox Sports North or Bally Sports North, whatever they call it, their fight with every station or every TV provider. So that could be a whole nother podcast. But I seen highlights, though, of Kirill Kaprizov and his little effort that he has to use to score on the shootout. It's like not even fair. He just literally just slowly skates up and he taps it in. Like it's not even it's like practice.
He also had a really nice, there was a cross ice pass to him against the Devils the other night, and he just like powered his way around the defender, made like this little stop deke, and then just went around him, and the defenseman was just like, oh shit, what do you do?
If this would be our first podcast that like if somebody listened to and they see Hobby Shop Talk Podcast, it was like 5 minutes of us talking about Minnesota sports, even though it's probably just AJ and Tyler. So, they're probably, they get it. But we got to move on.
We better nerd out now.
Yeah. But anyways, we got to talk about Magic, because the first thing we can just talk about is a game we didn't even finish, but one we actually played together. So we played with Ken, who we've talked about, who comes into the shop, and we played a game of Commander when Luke was in the shop recently. I played with my Prosper deck. I don't have to say much because I've, about what the deck is. We've talked about it. And what did you play with?
I had my Kaikar one, who all the sorceries and instants and non-creature spells.
Yeah, so yeah, and Ken played with his, this is the best part is, being prepared, and I'm sure it went away from the picture I was looking at. I had Ken's commander. He played with Precon from Forgotten Realms with the blue and black. Here he is. Will help the Rock Cleaver. Whenever another zombie you control dies, if it didn't have Decayed, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. Then I know he had a creature he kept attacking us with that if he dealt combat damage, he could draw a card, I believe.
Yeah. Well, I played him actually before you played, and I think I had 2 board wipes, and he just kept creating those zombies. And I ended up getting overrun by zombies, but it was a pretty valiant effort on my part.
Oh, see, I didn't even see the first game. But yeah, the second game, we didn't finish. I mean, I think that one would have came down to you and I, because either of us could have took him out. I think I kind of had a little bit of control after a bit there. I was able to do a couple different board wipes. Or you blocked one of them where I was able to kill 6 target creatures, and we had that all done, and then you were able to you countered that.
Had my rebuttal counter spell.
Yep, but then I had another one just waiting in the wings to do the same thing, and then I was able to kind of keep using my exile. I had that card again where I was able to exile the top 7 cards and add 10 mana of any one color, and to cast those spells. And so this deck is starting to move. It's starting to be a little bit better, but we didn't finish that game because we had the store. There's people in the store, so we just didn't have time. Ken had to go. That's what it was too. Ken had to leave. So, but I'm just gonna take the win because I think that's about all I played. I was trying to, like I was just telling Luke, I need to be a better record keeper, but I think that's the only games I played between the last time we talked. How about you?
Yeah, I went up this last Friday, so a couple days ago, and we played. I played some Commander. I actually we got quite a few games in, so I used one of each of my 4 Commander decks. So I have a Teysa Karloff, I think it is, where she gives the creatures that die the death triggers at doubles. So just a lot of graveyard recursion and death triggers. So, and then it basically pump out a bunch of 1/1 spirit tokens.
That seems so different from your normal deck. Death triggers, and you're usually angels.
Well, it's
and
black
knights
and white, so
paladins, and I guess you have the white, but still, you're using black as swamps. Different.
Yeah. Then I played my Rafika the Many deck, which is pretty fun. It's a Tron deck, so you just build up one creature and smash him in the face a bunch of times.
I've played. I know we talked about that. You and I playing once. You just destroyed me with like an 18/18 flyer.
Yeah. And then I have the equipment deck with Akiri, so that's just another Tron deck. So I'm trying to think of my 4th one now. Maybe it's only 3. I don't know.
Unless
I already said 4. So I have Kaikar, Teysa, oh yeah, and then Rafika the Many, and then Akiri. So yeah, that's 4 of them. But anyways.
And any good stories from those matchups, or how did you fare?
So I played against a sacrifice deck with it's the dragon from Throne of Eldraine, where when he comes into play, comes into the battlefield, you have to sacrifice a permanent. And then every time he attacks, you have to sacrifice a permanent. And then he gets a +1 counter every time you sacrifice a permanent, and you get to draw a card. So basically that deck wants to get a bunch of treasure tokens, and then all the bloodline, I think they're bloodline tokens out of Crimson Vow now is a new token.
Blood tokens, I think they're just called. I haven't used them, but
if you tap it and pay 1, you can draw a card and then discard a card or something. I don't remember. We should probably know this again, but
I haven't opened. I have them in the store, but as we had talked about, they were they were kind of tough to get, especially the set boosters. So I haven't opened any for the store. I like your mug. Lucas has a mug that says "What the Elf," and I chuckled.
It's full Christmas spirit here at our house. So
nice.
Got my Christmas mug out.
Besides that, on my end, I not that I'll be able to play with it, but hopefully this weekend we're going to be doing another recording. Which I say that this is a Monday, which it's was -6 this morning at about 30-mile-an-hour winds here in lovely central Minnesota. and we had snow, so it's blowing and icy. Anyways, I'm going to head to Luke's on Saturday, so just in about 5 days here. And I hope to have, I saw it shipped, some Gurok. So I ordered, it's going to be for a Gurok the Cursed Huntsman deck. So Gurok the Cursed Huntsman, it's 4 and then a Swamp and a Forest. It's Planeswalker. For 0, I can create a 2/2 black and green wolf creature tokens with when this creature dies, put a loyalty counter on each Gurok you control. I can take 3 loyalty counters off to destroy target creature and draw a card. Or for 6, you can get an emblem with creatures you control, get 3/3 and have trample. So
his ultimate is pretty much game over. Like, you get that emblem in that deck, it's, all your creatures are instantly huge.
Yeah.
So,
and already mostly huge. I've got a handful in my hand that I've already been pulling out of my stuff, including one out of the shelf that was on the more high end. I don't know how much worse, but Beastmaster Ascension. It's 2 and then 1 green, and it's an enchantment. Whenever a creature you control attacks, I get to put in a quest counter on Beastmaster Ascension. As long as Beastmaster Ascension has 7 or more quest counters on it, creatures you control get 5/5. So,
is that from one of the earlier Zendikar sets, I think?
Yep. So yeah, I got that one. I think I'm going to put in this deck. But then I also, along with the Cursed Huntsman, I ordered on TCG Player, I ordered Gurok Apex Predator, Gurok Caller of Beasts, Gurok Primal Hunter, Gurok Relentless, and Gurok Wild Speaker. So I'll have 6 of those planeswalkers. So you can imagine his ability to where was the first one? When this creature dies, put a loyalty counter on each Gurok you control. I mean, the plan is to have many of those, and a couple of my little 2/2 wolf beasts, or maybe 5/5 at that point, or whatever, dies. All those guys get a loyalty counter, so that'll be kind of fun.
Yeah, that so who is going to be your command? That will be a commander deck, right?
Yeah, I think I'm going to do the Cursed Huntsman. The first
so
one.
You can have black and green in it.
Yep, black and green. So, anyways, they shipped. So I hope to be able to talk about that as long as you and I get a couple games in on this Saturday.
Yeah, I told AJ and Tyler to swing out too, so we'll see if they end up making it.
Nice. Maybe they'll be on the podcast, because I guess I could mention that. We'll talk about that when we get into comics, but we'll probably forget that I did give them a stack of comics, recommended some, gave them some options when they were at the store, and so they've got a few different ones that they'll be able to talk about hopefully on Saturday.
AJ said he read his, so I didn't talk to Tyler. I forgot to ask him if he read his.
Yeah. Anyways, any more games that you played? Otherwise, our last magic item will transition into comics. So, anything else on your... Oh, no, I'm taking that back as I say this, because we had mentioned this last time. Just to briefly, we're going to go over the upcoming sets. We don't always know a lot about them, but, I was able to... I'm on cardgamebase.com is where I'm getting this information from, to give them some credit. And it's got the upcoming Magic the Gathering sets of 2022. So we briefly mentioned it. So I think what I'll do, because they're very short, because we don't know a ton of info, I'll just read the little brief overview on, what these are, and then give our thoughts on each one, at least what we can. So first one is Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. So, Luke and I, we talked about this, I think last time and also briefly in between, but so it says obviously returning to Kamagawa. So we were there before, and it's 2,000 years later from the previous set that was in Kamigawa, and but it says there's going to be some familiar faces and some callbacks, and just quickly, I just was curious, so I wanted to look at see if I could find any more information about it. It said it's about ninjas and samurais, but now they're carrying a cyberpunk aesthetic, and it also mentioned. I just told Luke this. There was a planeswalker. Oh, Kaito, a new planeswalker, Kaito, who's a cyber ninja. So, Luke, I think you said you don't have much to say about the old set, but thoughts on cyber ninjas and samurais?
Yeah, I wasn't playing Magic at the time. The first Kamigawa. How do you say it again? See, I don't even know. Kamigawa.
Kamigawa. Yeah, I knew there was another letter in there.
But yeah, I wasn't playing at the time it came out, so I wasn't too familiar. But I know there's I think, is it ninjutsu?
Yeah,
is one of the
I think I remember
the abilities. Yeah, I don't know. Is this the one or is that the other one coming up? Streets of Capenna?
That's coming up.
But I think there's like guns in them and stuff, which there's been minimal like, actual guns in Magic over the years. So I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, my 2 cents on the first one, the Kamigawa. I mean, we'll see. They always have the awesome stuff, and the art's always awesome. So who knows? I'll probably have a ninja or samurai deck by the time. Probably ninja. I don't know. Samurais I'm not as much into, but I don't know. I guess it seems that each of these sets is so hyper focused, or so focused on you better like werewolves, so you better like vampires or spirits, or you better like
for Midnight Hunt.
Yeah, or ninjas and samurais. Like they seem so focused on those things, and so, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'm sure.
Yeah, they've kind of done that over the years. Like with Amonkhet, they were in like ancient Egypt, and then the dinosaur one, Ixalan.
Yeah,
there's like dinosaurs in there, which I remember seeing when dinosaurs first came in. I wasn't actually playing then either, but once I started playing again, I was like, there's dinosaurs in Magic now, and gods, and
Well, the funny thing is they know we're still gonna buy it. So
oh yeah.
So the next one Luke already mentioned is the Streets of Capenna.
New Capenna, yeah.
Streets of New Capenna. I have a couple things up. So New Capenna is a fantasy noir. There are 5 families, each centered in 3 colors, and it says each family has its own mechanic, and different species appear in different families. Angels build the city of Capenna, but during our visit, it's already run by demon crime families. The plane also has a special meaning to Elspeth. So that one to me sounds more interesting. I mean, I think I'm just, I'm usually black, the black and green or that. So when I saw demon there and the different families, that one interests me a little bit more, I think.
Yeah, that must be like the gangster one. It looks like there's going to be
it says
gang families and
inspired by modern urban gangster movies focusing on gangs and organized crimes, and this is Q2 2022.
So yeah, that's coming out pretty soon. I can't remember when the Kamigawa come up. I can never say it. Kamigawa. I don't know what I'm thinking of. Maybe there's something else. But anyways, Kamigawa. I think that must come out in the Q1 of 2022, so coming up soon.
It says also that city is important to the planeswalker Elspeth Hyrule. I don't know if you're...
So yeah, she's the night planeswalker. I can't remember when she first came out as a, like the planeswalker card, but it's a pretty good one.
It says, is a warrior who thinks all should be free, tormented by memories of her past, a time spent in servitude to the Phyrexians. So... anyways, so that's next in line. After that, we have Dominaria. So that's a name, Dominaria United. So another return to a popular old school Magic plane is what it says. It was the Magic's plane at the beginning of the game. So it's the 30th anniversary. So it's saying it makes sense that they're celebrating it with returning to Dominaria.
Yeah, we'll see if like Gerard comes back and the Weatherlight stuff, because
that was good.
You read all those old books; those were it's good storyline.
Yeah. I actually still have those or gave them to you, but those I remember reading all those, and so I would look forward to that one as well. And then the last one, it talks about the brothers' war. So 2 brothers are apparently fighting a war. It says who? Well, no other than Urza and Mishra from Magic's past. So again, these are some more that I think for you and I will be bringing us back to, when we played, in our earlier years.
Yeah, and it says in this one too, like they're going to bring back some of the underrepresented tribes from early Magic.
Oh, yep, I see that here, yep.
So, I don't know if that's going to be like the Viashano, those reptile ones. There's who are the red... like Berserker Warriors, what were they called?
Yeah.
The Keldon.
Yep.
And then what's the white characters? Close to Keldon, but
the core?
I forget what they're called. Huh?
The core? The core.
No, they were in Zendikar.
Oh, okay.
But anyways, yeah, I'm curious what tribes they'll bring back, but
yeah, so those are Blast of the Past. I like those better than
the first
ninjas
2
and werewolves and vampires, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to the classic Magic characters. And then the last thing I'll just mention is, and we've talked about this briefly, Universes Beyond. So first one that I think I've talked about in the past that I'm super excited about is the Warhammer 40K. And it says there's going to be 4 different commander decks for that set. So I'll definitely want to try those. Probably it'll be the same time I actually try Warhammer 40K, but I'm really interested in the lore. But then I have my set, I think, from last Christmas that is still in the box, but I will paint someday. So those, so that's Warhammer. Then Lord of the Rings, Tales of the Middle Earth. Thoughts on that one might be more in your realm, Luke?
Yeah, they said it's going to be modern legal, and then it'll also be on Arena too. So I'll probably get it on Arena before I, buy the cards. And I can't remember if they're going to be new cards, kind of like they did with The Walking Dead, where they were actual new cards, or if they'll do like the Godzilla Ikoria crossover, where they took existing cards from the set and then just named them different, but kept the same abilities.
Yeah.
Because I thought I saw like Gandalf as Chulane, one of the wizards from a set earlier, but I think that was just like a fan art thing, but
that could make sense though, because like with this newest set with the vampires, they had Dracula, but then it had the name of the card under, and
yeah.
So just to throw shout outs to the actual characters, so I could see that. The other, I don't know what to think. This is actually the first. I didn't read all the way down this even prior, so I'm just seeing that the next one is Fortnite Secret Lair. So that completely lost me, but I could see maybe that'd be, like for example, Wyatt, would be interested in that and getting kids to play, but I don't know, Fortnite.
Well, AJ and Tyler like it too, so maybe that will be their foray into Magic the Gathering. I'll get them some cards from the Fortnite set.
Then the last one is let's see, Street Fighter. Again, I don't know. I like Street Fighter, but I don't need Street Fighter and Magic.
They should do
Street Fighter?
They should do the Van Damme movie characters from Street Fighter, remember?
Oh,
and then those could be the cards.
Yeah. So I see. Might as well throw fun sets in. And again, they know where people are going to end up buying them. So, but So, anyways, there's some cool ones. My favorites are the ones that look back at the old Magic storylines and lore. So those are the ones I'm most excited about. So let's go into comics, but more Magic. So I passed on the first 2 issues of Magic the Gathering to Luke. So from Boom Studios, correct? I don't have them in front of me.
It's Boom. Yeah. Boom Studios did it, and this is their second attempt at comic book series. I don't remember how many the first run had, but they did it back in the 90s. They tried to make a comic book, and maybe there was another one in between there. I don't remember, but yeah, issue 1 just kind of starts off with what the multiverse is and the different planes, and then it goes into following the the guild masters of 3 different guilds in Ravnica.
Yeah.
So it was that Rael Zarek. I forget how to pronounce his name.
Yeah. Well, so then, so the 3 guild masters were, I'm going to go with Rael Zarek and then Vraska and Kaya. And the things I thought is, so talking about those guild masters, I think they said there was 8 guilds, correct? So this is really just focusing in right now on those 3, and some assassins are coming after them. And then we see Jace. Something bad happens to Jace where he's not doing so hot, and they have to try and figure out who's coming after them. My thoughts were, and I think I briefly talked about it once when I first got this, just the art is awesome, the colors, they're very colorful, and I like how they did that because that does fit Magic. So I did like the art. And I like how it's, we played Magic a long time. I think I mentioned this the first time was, it really makes me like, I like Ral in this. He's just funny. He's, he likes his machines and uses his electricity and stuff. Like, so, I don't know, they have a good banter back and forth.
They all kind of like fight for that, like, there's just a big competition between the 3 of them, especially, Kaya, Rael, and Vraska.
Yeah.
Like they all do it a certain way.
Yep. I think they're the best. And
Kaya and Vraska were making fun of Rael because he had a survivor.
Yeah.
And then they that's where they try to get info from, but he had like something planted in his head that when Jace tried to read his mind, that's what, put him in his in a comatose state for a while. So
Yeah, because we had their action scenes was each of them dispatching of these. So there's three big explosions. I guess we mentioned there's three big explosions, but then they end up finding out there was more. So each of them had an explosion, but then they said the radars in rails, that they have all this technical stuff, that there was others. So then we'll find out more about that later. But anyways, so then all of a sudden these assassins came and they all dispatched of them, but yeah, they were making fun of Rael because he kept one alive, which he was doing it because he wanted to figure out who the heck these people were. Yeah, so they go to interrogate him, and yeah, it was like almost like taking some sort of a not good at
cyanide pill.
Yeah, there you go. It's taking like a cyanide pill. Yeah, so no, anyways, it was a good first issue, and you read the second issue as well, correct?
Yeah, so the second issue goes into them trying to dig deeper and see, because they were trying to put the puzzle together, like, were they trying to go after just planeswalkers or the guild masters, or were they only going after Jace, and then their plan worked because Jace got into their mind?
Yep.
Because then in the second issue, the assassins go to the hospital where Jace is.
Yeah. And the other part is they're really focusing on it's the most prominent guilds. So I gave you these issues, and so I was going to look after. So who is they're trying to put all their focus on the bad guild. What's their name?
Dimir?
The Dimir, yeah. I was going to say Gold
Yeah,
Guard.
they're like the black and blue.
Yeah, so they're thinking
colors and
they're
magic
behind all this initially because I think they see some of their signs and things, and they're just known for that. So that's who they're assuming it is.
And they also don't show up to the meeting of the guild masters. They call a big meeting for everyone, and Dimir does the Dimir. What do they call it? The Dimir the Dimir family. They don't show up,
and
so everyone's obviously it's them.
Yeah, no. So I got really hooked, reading the first couple issues, and again, like I said, the art. I like the art, so I won't say any more because I've read issue 3, which I'll give to Luke this weekend. So I'll try and read at least. I'll probably, who knows? Maybe I'll read them all, but at least I'll read 4 as well. So when we meet on Saturday, if you have time, you'll be able to sometimes read 3 and 4. Maybe we can talk about that for the next episode. But I definitely am into reading these, and there's several more for us to catch up on. So
yeah, I'll have to check. I don't remember if I started at 4 or 3. I might have 3. So, but yeah, another big thing that happened in the second one is, and maybe that was still the first issue, but those 3 Planeswalker, Kaya, Vraska, and Rael went to Zendikar because they had to speak in private, and they were trying to figure out, what's going on.
Yeah.
And there was like that shadowed figure.
Yep.
Turns out it was Tezzeret, who is a Planeswalker, artificer. What do they call him?
Yep.
But he's does a lot of artifact control and stuff. Yep. So they showed him at the end of issue 2. So it'll be fun to see where they go with his character.
Yeah, no, it's for like you mentioned, they did this once before, which I may have read, I can't recall, but this time to me it's so far so good, and I've read issue 3, and I'm looking forward to issue 4. So
yeah, it's always nice too, because I had me and you both kind of had prior knowledge of just the whole, me probably more than you, but the whole universe that there's taking a place. Whereas when I read Deathstroke, I'll be reviewing issue 3 on that. I don't know much of his backstory, but it's a lot nicer when you know a lot already of the characters and stuff. So easier to retain the info.
I'm going to let you go on to Deathstroke then, because I think you did more reading than I this time. I do have one I'll talk about after, but why don't you talk about Deathstroke?
Yeah, besides Magic, I read the new Deathstroke, so it was issue 3. So this is Deathstroke Inc. And right on the front cover is Deathstroke riding a unicorn in like a fairy fantasy tale land. So
I wasn't expecting that.
But yeah, and like I said in our last episode, he went to Chitera, where Cheetah is, to try, because Deathstroke and Black Canary are working for that trust organization, who have seemed kind of shady from the beginning. And but Deathstroke kind of wanted to turn, I think he's realizing, like, am I a bad guy? Am I a good guy? And he wants to try the good guy thing one more time. So he's teaming up with Black Canary. But in the beginning of this one, they and let me look up her name real quick. what? Oh yeah, Queen of Fables, who apparently helps bad, villains write their own fantasy when they want to like get away or not get captured. So Cheetah, who her human name was Barbara. Of
course it was.
She wrote her own fantasy where she's the queen of these cat people, and then Queen of Fables, they captured her in the beginning of the issue and then pretty much forced her to write Deathstroke into Cheetah's fantasy or whatever. So then he gets there, and then all these cat people are happy because Cheetah has like turned bad and the power got to her, so she's like an evil ruler, and so Deathstroke has to go and take her down. But it's pretty funny though, because like it really plays on like the fantasy just genre in general, and also like it brought in some video games. It's like all these like cat people were trying to get him to do side quests, like on like Fallouts and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Those like big role playing games, you got all the side quests and they're fun to do, but Deathstroke's like, no, I got one mission, I got to get in and get out. So
yeah,
he goes and beats the crap out of a bunch of cat people and captures Cheetah. But in the end, it kind of shows that Trust is using Black Canary and Deathstroke. Spoiler alert, maybe I should have said that earlier, and then at the end of this issue, Black Canary starts to realize like, oh, what's Deathstroke doing? Does he know more than I know about this Trust, corporation? So
they need to
issue
have
4
trust.
says it's going to be Black Canary versus Deathstroke. So,
so again, I just feel like I need a palate cleanser for those out there. So I'm going to go a little bit darker, instead of this fairyland that you were just in. I'm going into Something is Killing the Children, because I finished the second trade paperback. And man, it is a dark comic. I mean, it's literally, monsters killing children, and children can see them. But yeah, I think it's, and they really get into why. And so there's where we ended last time, I remember it mentioning that, so they're these shadow forms, and they have a name actually, because they're it's like this group. This group is that fights these monsters. They know all the different kinds, and these kinds are shadow monsters, and they need to be eating in order for them to attack them or to actually take form. So previously, Erica, who is from the House of Slaughter, that's what I was missing. House of Slaughter. So the House of Slaughter, they have to take care of these things, and we learn a lot more about them, and that's going to lead into, I know I mentioned previously, the House of Slaughter has its own run of the series, which I think they're on to issue 2 already, which I have those in my pull list. So I haven't got to those yet, but we learn more about the House of Slaughter. We learn more about Erica, so these really skip. So these shadow form monsters, they need to actually be eating in order for them to take form. So they need to use kids as bait, and really, in the end, it's like what they're trying to say is it's a horrible thing. You have to use a kid or two, but it's to save the lives of many kids. So this guy has no qualms in taking these 2 survivors, and they've seen stuff they shouldn't have seen, so they're going to use them as bait. Erica's not about that, so she's trying to keep them safe. But they're at the school where they're actually having to show the bodies of these kids. People are claiming them. Well, what that's doing is, I think I also mentioned at one of the previous issues, we found out that these are babies and there's multiple of them. So having all these bodies there, including some of the survivors, all these shadow forms are forming outside of this school, and one of the people sees them because one of the guys in an earlier issue, we had to stick him with his stuff so an adult could actually see these things, because he was trying to attack them, and she said, here, see what I see, so he could see the monster and they could save themselves. So now he sees one and goes out into the woods, and anyways, more kids are dying, and they're at this school, and to save them, it kind of ends where one person has to sacrifice themselves to get everybody else to safety, and that's kind of where it ends. So it leaves with a huge cliffhanger, but the main things I'll mention, I was trying to go around spoilers, is just that we learn more about the House of Slaughter, and now they're down to the point of now they're trying to save more kids and figure out a way to do it, because as these things kill and feast, they get hungrier and hungrier, and if they don't have food, which is children, it turns into like a frenzy, and they'll start killing everyone. So yeah, it is I was gonna say it is if you like horror, I've never read a comic book where it actually elicits the horror feelings of a good horror movie, because it is like and it's like uncomfortable because it's monsters killing children, which is what people that's what kids think, and it's turning that into like real life, because the adults in it, like, they don't want to believe it. The cops at one point, he finally starts asking, like, he first says aliens, tell me about these aliens, because he finally believes it, because the survivors are like, it's monsters, they don't know what else to say, it's monsters, but they're just kids, they're saying it's monsters. Somebody actually gets arrested because they're trying to save these kids getting slaughtered by these things out in the woods. And he gets caught, he's holding one of the bloody kids, and they arrest him because they assume, oh, must be this guy. There's no monsters. Well, then the monsters in front of people start attacking people. Anyways, I don't want to keep saying too much more, because people should read Something is Killing the Children if you like horror. And, they get pretty gory. But that's the end of the second trade paperback, and I'm going to be... reminds me after this, I need to put stuff on my Christmas list. And so I think I'm going to put the third and fourth, if there is that now, because I know it keeps going. So yeah, there probably is a couple more trades at this point, at least one. So anyways, that's the end of the second trade paperback, Something is Killing the Children. Would you read a horror comic book, Luke? I don't know you as a horror person.
Horror, like as in WHO? Wait, never mind. No, I'm more of the milquetoast X-Men stuff. I'm trying to think of what like horror movies I like. I like more of like the suspense,
but more
thrillers. Like Maybe It Could Happen, not like monsters killing children. Like I'm like one of those parents that's denying it.
You're the problem in this comic book. Nobody believes that there's monsters, and next thing you know, you'll just wait. I'm a believer, so I'll be safe. Anyways. Let's go back to some milquetoast. People are probably depressed if they understood what I was saying, because I was kind of going in circles.
If they're still listening. And anyways, yeah. Issue number 5 of the X-Men 2021 run. Well, suppose it will go into 2022. I don't know how long it's going, but anyways, yeah, X-Men number 5. So one thing I've noticed about all like the first 5 issues is they kind of pick one character and focus on that character. So like, remember last issue was the Halloween one, focusing on Jean Grey. I think 1 or 2 before that was they focused on Sunfire. So then this one, they're focusing on Polaris, who I don't know if most people probably know her from the X Factor. It's Magneto's daughter, Havoc's ex-girlfriend, I think. But this issue really showed like her powers and what she can do. Because in the beginning, the Reavers, who were apparently in another run of X-Men a while back, but they came to attack the X-Men in New York, where their new base is. And they had these tranquilizing darts that essentially left them, their mutant powers, lifeless but it didn't affect Polaris. So she pretty much had to fight them off all by herself, which also using Wolverine. So Polaris can manipulate metal like Magneto can. So she was using Wolverine's body as like a puppet and destroying everyone. And
that's a pretty powerful puppet.
It is, yeah. It would be, you would think so. And I haven't even looked into the new version of Wolverine is like, because remember the original Wolverine was like they fused the adamantium to his body.
Yep.
So like, was this new Wolverine, like, I'll have to look and see if they followed that same story or if she was born with metal bones somehow.
I would, if you don't, like, you can use MedMD.
Oh, I check it out. See, like adamantium fused skeletal system.
Yeah. And see if they got anything about it.
But anyways, yeah, it shows Polaris kicking butt for a while, and then it cuts to Ben Urich. Remember, he's the reporter for the Daily Bugle. He came back and he essentially told Cyclops he's going to break the story that mutants have, conquered death, because like Cyclops was the one that came back from the dead and a couple other mutants. So Ben Urich has put the ball in Cyclops' corner. He's like, I'm going to break this, one way or another. I'll give you a day to figure out what you want to do. So I don't know what Ben Urich's angle is. Maybe he's just a good reporter and, wants people to know that the mutants can solve death, and just kind of like what it means for this series in general.
So
but on the cover of this, What's that?
No kids got killed?
No, it's no, just the Reavers. So, but on the cover of this, it's that Dr. Stasis bad guy that's kind of been in like usually he's only in like 1 or 2 pages of each issue, and now didn't have much face time in this one either. So I'm just curious what his character is going to be. So, because much hasn't came from it yet, besides he's trying to evolve mutants again to the 3rd stage of evolution or whatever. So
yeah, that would be their goal. And then, man, it doesn't sound good for the rest of us.
I know, yeah, humans are going to be obsolete in this.
Yeah. So what's
this
darker?
Fake universe.
What's darker, that or monsters? Because what do you think they're going to do with the humans once they, get to that level and start taking over?
Maybe the monsters are the 3rd evolutionary step. You never know.
But all right, anything else you read, or is it on to more mindless things like video games and television?
Yeah, it's probably time for that, huh?
Because I played more games this time, so some of this I'm just gonna mention, but I think I want to show you because you won't know much to talk about, or to give me your feedback. So the thing I've been playing the most, and I've had it for a while on Steam. I mean, for like a year and a half. I played it for a bit, but it's called Super Mega Baseball 3, and I mean it's super. This is the thing I'm curious because I know you like baseball. You played baseball, but I also know you like more realism, and this is a super comic-y graphics, but it is probably by far the most in-depth baseball game, and like what you can customize literally everything down to the team, the colors, the batting stance of every player, the music that they come out to, like it. And it has like a very deep franchise mode when you're in charge of the franchise, and you can buy different levels. Anyway, I could go on and on, but it's so I'm just going to say, I'll show you on Saturday. I've been playing. I'm currently like 7-0, and I was going to move up to a higher mode, but some of the games get down to the wire, and I just can't. My main thing is scoring. My pitchers are pretty good. It's got a fun little like mini game for not mini game for pitching. Where you pick your pitch. There's like you have your 4-seam fastball, your curveball, your slider. And then you click where you want it, and then it kind of, I think, starts over in the middle, and you have to get as close back to that spot you originally clicked on, and that's where you're going to be your level of your pitch. So it's a little, game to make sure you're pitching good. And then there's like multiple different ways to hit as well. You can just hit, for example, A is on my controller I use on my computer. A is, just like a contact pitch, or you can hit the X button and hold it for a power-up, and I just cannot get that down. I'm always late or early swinging, or you can use the joystick, so tons of different options. But anyways, we'll talk more about that. I just wanted to mention it, Super Mega Baseball 3, and I'll have you play a game, or maybe AJ and Tyler. I'm curious to their thoughts. I know they like sports games, but I'd be curious to their thoughts on the graphics, and if they would be able to get around the graphics for a very in-depth baseball game.
Well, I guess I never told you how much I used to play backyard baseball with Tyler back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember backyard baseball, like Pablo Sanchez, and I forget some of the other characters, but me and Tyler had a good run of playing that for a while.
So, yeah,
back
maybe.
when he was like probably 4 years old and I was probably 20. But I was just actually checking out some of the graphics, and it ended up being 2, but now I'm on 3 here. I mean, it looks pretty cool. They got like the ginormous heads and, over proportioned bodies and stuff, but looks like it could be decent.
Yeah, you'll have to try it. I'm just, it's really, it has high marks, as if you look at Steam, you can look at their ratings, but we'll try that out this weekend. How have you been playing more? Was it NHL 22 you had previously talked about? You just had got it last time.
Yeah, I played a few online games now. I think I'm 2-4 or 2-5, so not doing the hottest, but yeah, we'll say that. No, I'm just I don't know. I think you start at like the 500 rating, but I'm at like 485 now because you lose one and you get docked more than if you win. It's like if you lose, it's like -8 or -7, but if you win, it's like 5 points. So.
And the Wild must be pretty good on that. as far as
but
rating.
they're not like, I remember one of the games I started, I was playing against the Penguins, and they had 3 stars, on their starting line. The forward, center, or both forwards and the center were all stars. And we have 1 star, which is Kirill Kaprizov. So it's like, but hopefully they update it, because like Hartman's been on fire, Erickson X doing pretty good.
Well,
I don't know if they would give them stars, but
and Dumba, you'd almost think they would be. But anyways, I'll actually have more of my thoughts, even though that they always are so similar. It's so hard to tell between year after year. But if we play a few games, I'm guessing on Saturday, I'll have some thoughts on that on the next episode.
Hopefully, if Tyler and AJ do come over, we can have an epic 2v2, me and you against them too, because there definitely would be the favorites, and me and you would be the underdogs. And if we could pull off a win, that would be quite epic. And we'll make sure to put that on our Twitch account and stream it. Yeah,
I mentioned that to somebody in the store to Ken the other day that he should check it out. As well as, I didn't mention this before, Luke, but I want to do an off-air meeting because I want to bring a couple boxes over to open. And depending on the situation, if we're going to go to the Lewis Game Shop or not, let me know if you want me to bring some cards for you to open as well.
Yeah.
So, anyways, on my end, I've been playing The Sims 4. Talon's been playing it a lot, and so I played The Sims going all the way back to when Sims 1 we used to play at my house in high school, 20 years ago. 20 plus years ago.
Fun.
Yeah. And so Sims 2 was one of the best ones, but The Sims 4, it has so many different iterations, and they're actually super fun because like you can be a cop and go through that line of work where you actually go to work with them. Typically, remember, the time would speed up and you could see they would get promotions. In this, you can actually, you can be a cop and you actually go to work and you go to crime scenes and have to take pictures and, do the whole arrest process, and you can give tickets. Or you can be, I think, a doctor. And one other thing, maybe they even added another where you can go to. But anyways, you can also run a business, which was my favorite back in the day. So I'm currently learning how to build robots and different drones and copters. And then I'm going to have those in my store eventually. So right now I'm just working as a retail. I started out as retail, and I'm into customer support, into sales, I believe. And as I'm learning my crafts, and then I'm going to own my own business. So yeah, I've been playing Sims 4.
So you're playing this simulation life, but it's close to your identical life.
Yeah, it's just he's probably more successful.
You're like Dwight on The Office. He's like, my life was so fulfilling, I needed a second life. And then he got like his second afterlife, that game.
Yeah. Yep. So anyways, so I've been playing The Sims 4.
You know what game I just learned how to play because my kids are, Pokemon mania right now. So I actually got the Pokemon digital version or whatever online. I don't know what it's called, but it's just a duplicate of the game, but it's digital. So
can you use the cards for those? Because I've got like 1,000 of those cards from packs that are just sitting here that you can get like additional cards on Pokemon Online.
Yeah, we actually had like 10 of them. So me and my kids put those all in and got a bunch of packs.
Well, but
we can.
500 I could bring over because.
Sweet, bring them Saturday.
All right. Anyways, what else? Anything else you've been playing? And I do have that. I have somebody coming in to interview. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I watched a couple episodes. I don't know. Do you got to get going now or?
No, we got a few minutes. This was going to do the 10-minute warning.
All right. 10-minute warning, people. But no, I watched, so I was sick over Thanksgiving, which was kind of a bummer because I didn't get to go. Everyone went over to AJ's for Thanksgiving. I stayed home. But I watched The Wheel of Time because I actually had time to watch some shows. So, the Robert Jordan fantasy book, they did the adaptations for Amazon now, and it had like a crazy budget. I don't remember how much it was, but so I was actually pretty pumped to watch that because I haven't read the books, but I probably had an Audible book and listened to half of it, but they're like 22 hours long, so I never finished it. But I will say it was a pretty good. I think there's going to end up being, 8 episodes, and I think I watched to 4 because 5, 6, 7, and 8 hadn't come out yet. So, but for the huge budget it had, it looked a little kind of, I don't know, lower quality than obviously like the Lord of the Rings and stuff, but It was still pretty good for like any fantasy fans, of those shows. They'll probably, and I won't spoil anything on it because if you haven't read if you read the books, obviously it won't matter. But if you haven't read the books, might as well watch the show because it's way easier. And
that's kind of like for me, and I shouldn't say it, and I have The Witcher. I have The Witcher 3, which I actually have it downloaded, and I want to start playing on Steam. But that's one I'm looking forward to. Have you seen it all or know anything about The Witcher?
I actually just saw the preview for that for The Witcher. Is it on Netflix now and the new season is coming out? Or
I believe so.
Yeah.
That's
it actually looked pretty sweet. Yeah, I don't know anything about the game though.
So for all I've watched has so far been Lucifer and of course my Dungeons of Drakenheim and on YouTube some of the D&D stuff. But I'll mention this before I forget. I did give AJ some what's it called? The Essentials Kit for D&D. So he can start prepping for being the DM for a Hobby Shop Talk podcast D&D campaign. I just thought of that. But
I forgot to ask him if he opened that yet.
Yeah, I'm curious. Yeah, he'll have to hopefully. Anyways, so after I finished Lucifer, which I'm on like the end of season 5, and I think there's a shorter season 6. So I want to finish that up. And then on my list is I'm debating The Witcher, but then also there's been just some other stuff. Like I don't know if you've seen the Cowboy Bebop, which is the anime, and now they have a Netflix. Luke's shaking his head.
I haven't gotten into anime I don't know.
So I have the Cowboy Bebop, the whole series, and I haven't watched it. But now they have the real life, but with people and Netflix. It looked pretty good. It looked funny. But anyways, that's all the time we got here today. So we're going to be recording in about 5 days here, so we'll have more to talk about. But for episode 14 of the Hobby Shop Talk podcast, this is Matt and Luke, and go play some games.